Okay, you guys, I got a bright idea, and we are now sneaking out into the chicken house in the middle of this snowstorm, and there's a reason for that. So while it's still dark out, it's the best time to get out here because the chickens are all still asleep. And what we need to do is we need to count them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on that shelf. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 24 chickens. And the reason I'm needing to count them is because I learned that mealworms were only to be given in a specific quantity. So I've been raising mealworms forever, but I've never thought it was a viable source of food for the chickens, because I thought, oh my gosh, I would have to feed them bags and bags of mealworms. Well, guess what I found out? Now that I've gotten to be a guru and started doing the calculations and the math, a large breed chicken is only supposed to get, I think, 10 mealworms per day. And the small breed get 5. I think quail are only supposed to have 5 a day. So now that we know how many chickens we have, we can multiply that. I'll have to watch the video and figure out which ones are large and which ones are small, because I do have some of both, and calculate how many worms that I would have to collect each day and feed to them. I think this is doable. Ho ho ho, good morning. Farmer Jill is up and moving around. I was super excited this morning to go out and count my chickens. Because yesterday I started honing in on my skills and did some calculations and research, and I found out that each chicken, if it's a large breed chicken, they require 10 mealworms per day. Your small breeds are 5. Now, I been raising these mealworms for years now, collecting the frass, and never did figure out. I was always thinking that in order to feed these to your chickens, you'd have to have a 55-gallon bag of feed throwing it out there every day, but that's not the case. Good thing I put my Goonie glasses on and did the research and the math, because now I have for you a super duper easy, I've got the calculations done right here in tub 1 and tub 2. We have 100 worms in each of those and 50 in our third one. Because we calculated from this morning, we have 25 chickens. And for 25 chickens, I'm going to, this is what I did. I put the empty tub on the scale. Okay, this is just a little gram scale you can get off of Amazon. So it's 13.2 grams there. So we tear that out so we're not weighing the little bucket. And then we add 100 worms is 21.8 grams. There's our other 200 worms, comes to 43.3. And then our additional 50, because that's a few more than what we need. And considering that these are free-range chickens, they're probably picking up some protein out there in the yard anyway. And so realizing that they only need that small amount of protein is making me thinking they're getting plenty. So 54.4 mealworms. I'm going to say that's probably the minimal amount that if you put chickens in a confined type of a setting, where they couldn't get any other protein and you were using a ration, that would be the amount that you would give your 25 chickens every day. I didn't get super technical or scientific here. I should have done like 3 100 tubs, you know, tubs with 100, and then I should have added them up, taken the average, and that way you would know how many grams every day that you would need to feed your worms. We can do this because I just did not write down how many that was, so we'll tear out that tub again, and you'll see it was 54.3 grams per day for your chickens. Now, what I did do as a check to see if my math was fairly correct was, so each one of these basically was about 21, 22. They both would round up to 22 grams. And so I checked it, cut it in half, and basically it came up to 22 grams for, well, it was 11.1 for the 25, and then you double it to 50. And so basically, if you had 50 and 50, it would equal 22 grams. So we're pretty accurate on that. And how I did this to make it like super quick and easy for collection of your worms. So like you're thinking, I'm not going to want to count those things out every day. And I wouldn't want to either. I agree. This is how I did it. So I just got this extra tub out. My mealworms are right here on a shelf behind me. So if you see that egg crate there, those are the mealworms that are more advanced. I feel like they come up there when they're ready to pupate. So I'm going to say, okay, we're going to only count the pupating, because they're getting into it, worms. I think they're the biggest, heaviest, chunkiest worms. So in order to collect every day, see all those worms there and there. I'm just going to go like this and do a little like that. Flip it over. Okay, now put that back in there. All right, these guys go back on the shelf. So you see all those worms? They're nice and clean. I don't have a bunch of debris in there, so it's not going to throw my calculation off. Tap, tap, tap over to the corner and scoop up your daily dose of mealworms. Now, if you can see, we have more than what we need. Ta-da! Here. So, we know we need 54.3 grams for today. We'll put the empty tub on there. We'll tear out the scale. And we will begin to add the protein until we reach the 54. Look at there. 54.3. So, that's what you would take out to your chicken house when you go to collect your eggs, I suppose. I think that's easy enough. The chickens love them. Now, the challenge is going to be how to make sure some of the bully chickens, I guess, don't get more than the more skittish ones. So, if everybody could please comment on how they're doing that, or if they're doing that, or if they're just throwing a handful out there and letting everybody fight over it, please do let me know. This is the other thing you could probably do, is if you order these little tubs, I order them off of Amazon. So if so we know that these are ready to pupate. So when they're ready to pupate, they stop eating, and so they can last in here a while. I mean, basically, I don't think, and even though they're not eating, that if you did collect up several of these tubs for your chickens in advance, so like you can collect them up on the weekend, and then you leave them in here, and you're like thinking, well, I don't want to leave them in there because if they start shrinking, the chickens are not going to get the right amount of nutrients. And that's another thing to think about, because these are actually live mealworms. We should do some scientific calculations there. I suppose I could pick up some dry mealworms and do these calculations for everybody. But what I'm doing here is weighing out the wet, live. So this is live weight mealworms. Now, I am going to say that if these calculations that I looked did not say whether I should be feeding live weight or dehydrated. So obviously, if you lose that water, your dehydrated mealworms are going to weigh a whole lot less than your live ones. But I'm going to say that since they're claiming 10 mealworms per chicken for large breed, I'm going to say they're saying 10 live. So once we measure them live, once they've entered that pupation stage, they're saying they've got plenty of moisture. They are nice and chunky fat. They don't look shrunk down or anything. We can go ahead and put them in these dishes, and we can continue to let them do whatever, pupate, turn into a beetle, whatever, and they're still going to have the exact same amount of nutrition. No, they aren't. That would be, I'm trying to think this through in my head. So they would be going to the bathroom? Maybe they empty their digestive tract when they're pupating. That's what the silkworms, I've raised silkworms before, and the silkworms actually clear their digestive tract before they pupate. So I will look some more information up on that to see if anybody knows, do they clear their digestive tract? So they're not going to be pooping at this stage. Maybe, possibly. And so that doesn't matter how long we would keep those in that tub. If they were in there for a week, they would still have the exact same nutritional value stored there within that exoskeleton and worm. Now, they would be using energy, so I don't know if the expenditure of that energy would reduce the amount of nutrition in them. Holy Moses, you see how technical these scientists like to get? We got to think of all that. Anyway, I'm going to say, if you want to go ahead and collect up some of these tubs in advance so that you have worms for the week, so that when you're just rushing out there to feed them, there's no need for you to measure and weigh. So you'll measure and weigh in advance, and we'll get 5 tubs ready, and we will just store these on the shelf in the house, I suppose, where we walk out the door to feed the chickens. Another thing maybe you could do to decrease your energy expenditure would be to put them in the refrigerator, so that they slow way down. They go into what's called torpor. Or maybe the freezer is the better plan. So only have room for, say, 5 of these tubs in your freezer for the week. That's a good way to humanely euthanize them or dispatch them. And then feed them frozen so they don't crawl off. And you'll miss some of your chickens might miss a few. So there you go. That's my video for today in my Grow Your Own Food series. I'm excited because I've never really raised these for the chickens before. It was always my intention to do so, but never did the calculations, and now I'm really upset that I didn't, because I think this will be super easy to do. On the weekend, it would be fun for kids to do. I mean, if I was a kid learning science, that would make me, excited. Heck, I'm an adult. Look at how excited I am over this science business. Here's the other thing. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of this or not, but I thought it would be fun to get some of these shirts to wear while I'm doing my videos. And so I like the Grow Your Own Food. If you guys have any super cool shirts you like about permaculture and things, be sure to link them below. I have been looking for, and I'm upset because today I have my worm farmer shirt on again, but it has an earthworm on it. So I looked up a shirt for when I do my mealworm. I call them commercials. even though I'm not doing a commercial to sell you anything. Although, if I ever did end up selling, I could call it a commercial. It's a skit. So this is my skit. When I do these skits, I like to have, I like to wear the shirt and have a lot more fun. So if anybody's out there that can have some pull in the artistic design world, maybe you guys could get us some Mealworm shirts, some really cool Mealworm shirts. And then I can order some. Post me a link. And I'm going to continue hashing this out, doing more research. I've got my research done for raising the eggs from the pupa and all of that stuff. I did some calculations, how many need to be in each pan. It was really very phenomenal how many you could fit in a combined area, and they still don't start to cannibalize. That's cannibalize. I thought they would cannibalize way sooner than what they actually do. Okay, that's it for this video. We're going to move right on. I'll try to get this video up ASAP. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, so I figured you guys would all be inside and you're going to want to binge watch all my videos.